Okay, here's a quick game I want to analyze from my friend Ron Groom. He's got kind of a older phone. I don't think he has all these programs on his computer, so I just want to take a quick look at this game. Just open up this program. This program's called how do I say this game? Sorry, let me back out of here. This program is called right here in the bottom right hand corner, Chess PGN Master. I think I have the pro version. It cost me a couple bucks, but the free version is pretty much the same thing. It's also kind of cool because you can download some master games and have like your own little database there. But anyway, so let's open that up. Start PGN. I want to open a file. There it is, and it's gone. What happened to it? Where'd it go? There we go. All right, sorry about that. Got a little confused there. So we're on his white here. I think it's a 6-minute game or an 8-minute game. And you got a couple options up here at the top. Let me hit some display. Okay. Start analysis. So same deal, Stockfish chess engine. That's a real popular one. It's down here at the bottom, and it's going to show you, what it currently thinks is the best move. So I think you can only see one move at a time here. On some of the other programs, it'll show you like the 2 or 3 moves that it thinks are best. So, if your move's not in there, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad one. But if you look back through the video, you could pause it and kind of check out some of these variations and what the computer's thinking. So E4, E5, that's normal. D4 by Ron. This is the center game. It's kind of an older opening, but it's chess. Anything's playable. As you can see, the little arrow on the screen is going to kind of recommend it's going to show the next recommended move. Like over here on the bottom right, you see E captures D4 is what the computer thinks you should play. And if you look on the screen, then you got like a purple arrow there showing E captures D4. And then after that, probably the next move would be maybe Queen captures D4. No, I'm sorry. The gray arrow is the move you just played. So the computer recommends that you take that pawn. And then Ron was probably wanting to play maybe his Danish game, but that he likes to play. Pretty exciting opening. But anyway, Black jumps right into the fray here with Queen to H4. That's a little risky in my opinion. You're bringing your queen out early, but it can be dangerous. You get your queens out that early, it can lead to a lot of quick checkmates. So computer down here, as you can see, right away recommends that this is better for white and that Ron should play knight to F3. But Ron says, I don't care what the computer says. I want to play knight to C3. So that's okay. I mean, he's developing a piece. He's covering his E4 pawn, his king's pawn. I think the idea is that knight to F3 is a little more aggressive. You'll probably get something like queen captures E4, and then you block it, bishop to E2, and then Black continues to develop like this, and then it's White's turn. He plays D captures E5, and you start to get a setup like that. D6. What happened there? So, but that's not what happened, right? So let's eliminate this. Delete current variation. Yes. All right, so Queen to H4, and then Ron plays knight to C3. No problem. Black continues with his aggressive play with bishop to B4. You can see the analysis here. It looks pretty even, slightly better for white. Anything less than, 1 point isn't really that dramatic. That means less than a pawn advantage. And, you have an advantage just because you moved. So white to move. The computer recommends taking that pawn, as you can see with the purple arrow. But Ron pushes forward. Okay, D5. That's playable, I suppose. But I don't like the looks of it because it looks like this, queen is going to capture that king's pawn, and that's what happens. And so obviously in check, we got to block that. The computer recommends bishop to E3, but Ron goes ahead with something different, knight to E2. Same principle, I think, blocking the check, although now he's blocked in his light squared bishop. So, it's going to, if he wants to castle king side, it's going to cause him some problems, but he may be thinking about castling to the other side. So knight to e2. Ooh, that's not good. Look at this rating down here, minus 2.13. So that means, black has really jumped up. If we back up a couple moves, after Ron played d5, now he's still kind of showing a losing analysis. So right here, if you look in the bottom right, the corner, plus 0.47 or 0.4, that shows that the game's better for white. And then Ron makes a move, and whammo, minus 2.1. So that means, Ron has made a move that's going to kind of cost him a couple pawns. A pawn is a point. So back here, what the computer recommend? D captures e5. But anyway, Ron plays d5. That's okay. Ron ends up winning, so I shouldn't be too critical of his game, I guess. So queen captures e4 check, and then the knight intercedes. And you can see here that what black should do by the purple arrow is play knight to e7. Black doesn't. He plays this awkward-looking knight to a6 move, trying to activate the knight. I understand that. It just looks kind of odd out there on the rim. Bishop to e3 is recommended. Ron almost does that. Bishop to d2, pretty good idea. That way he's covering his knight and avoiding the doubled pawns. The game still looks a little better for black. 0.8, minus 0.8. So it's black's move. He takes the knight. Good deal, because that knight is guarding the pawn on d5. That it's a little overextended. So bishop captures knight. And then Ron recaptures with the bishop. And it looks like the computer's recommending knight to f6, but black plays knight to c5 here, trying to bring another piece into the attack, I guess. But black's getting a little ahead of himself. If you take a look at his development, it really isn't looking too good back here. f3 is a recommended move. Those moves are hard to see sometimes because you think, well, I don't want to open those pawns up around my king, but it would drive off the enemy queen. So queen to d2 doesn't look too bad to me, preparing to castle queenside and get himself out of all that trouble. What's that, d6, opening up the bishop there. And here comes the long castle. And let's see, what's knight to e7 is recommended. That's not what black plays. Black plays bishop to f5. I'm not a big fan of that move because he can't, it threatens mate, so to speak, in front of the king, but the queen's sitting there, and there's really no way to drive the queen off. So, if we back up, okay, white castles queenside, and the computer says this game is still better for black, minus 0.096, whatever. That's still better for black. And then black moves. And now we got a new analysis, +2. So that means black's last move wasn't good because the analysis quickly says now this is better for white. And it is. It's bishop to f5, and Ron capitalizes on that with knight to g3, really putting the fork here on the bishop and the queen. Queen to g4 looks like it might save the day. I don't know. Black doesn't play that. A lot of times when people get in kind of a tough situation, they don't always play the best move. So, including me. So knight to g3, and black runs away here with queen to a4, which is great, and has this threat down here of queen captures pawn, and kind of trapping the king in there. But at the same time, that's not really a game-winning move, and it also just leaves this white squared bishop hanging, and Ron just snatches that right up. So that's a good deal. So the computer recommends that black hurry up and castle himself out of trouble, but black's a little aggressive, and he captures this pawn, which if white doesn't do anything could lead to checkmate, but white makes a simple move and gives himself an out there, b3. So now, obviously, the queen can't checkmate him. Again, you can see up here at the purple arrow, the computer's recommending that black castle for the most part. But it's a black's turn. Yeah, b3, and it's black's turn. Knight to e4, that's a recommended move. So, good idea there. If you watch this analysis down here, the computer will kind of keep thinking, and sometimes it'll pick up a slightly better move, and there's more than one possible move. It doesn't run through them all, but it just gives you the one that it thinks is best. So knight to e4, that's what black plays. And now obviously white has to move his queen. Queen to e3, keeps it close by, protects the bishop. Knight captures c3 is what he should play, but queen to a3 is what he does play. And of course that doesn't work too. Bishop captures bishop to b2 blocks that. And then we get what? Queen to b4 is what's recommended, and that's what black plays, okay? So now white's turn, knight captures g7, and now black's going to pay a price for leaving his king sitting in the center. King to f8, there's not really many options, I don't think. King to d8 was an option, but it still isn't looking good. King to f8, and the recommended move is to bounce the knight back to h5. Looks like Ron goes knight to f5. That doesn't look like a bad move. You can see the recommended move again with the purple arrow. It's not quite what black does. Now black tries to get some more pieces in the game, and that's not really going to work. Now white plays f3, kind of driving off this knight. I like the move that the computer recommends with the queen to, what do you call it, queen to h6 check. But either way, white's really looking pretty good here. f3. The knight has to go h6. Yeah, the computer's just recommending that black give up that knight and focus on the defense of his king. But black doesn't. He plays knight to c5 and queen to h6. Ron picks the computer move there. Good idea. Queen to h6, and now the king's on the run. King to e8. Queen captures knight. Things aren't looking good for black. King to d7. Interestingly enough, the computer's recommending g3 down here at the bottom, and that way we can activate our white bishop. And once the knight moves, then you'll have another discovered attack on the king. But there's probably a lot of ways to win from here. g3 is a recommended move. Ron plays queen to e7 check. King to c8. Queen captures f7, I think is... Yeah, it's definitely the move Ron plays. Again, g3. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. Queen captures f7, and black's trying to scramble to find a way out. Again, this computer just, the computer's saying it wants us to move this pawn so we can get another piece in on the attack. The more pieces you got, the quicker the game's going to come to an end. But Ron kind of backs up a little bit. Maybe he's got the same type of idea. King to b7, we got to be careful if we don't keep the attack rolling, then the black king might have a chance to get tucked away. So, where we at there? Let's back up. Knight to e3 was Ron's move, and then the king to b7. And, I guess this is the right idea. I mean, he kind of backed the knight up, but the idea is just getting ready to go forward and attack this d6 pawn. So, again, Ron won the game. I can't really criticize his play too much. So let's see. Let's threaten the queen. Rook to whatever, f8. Rook h to f8. And this is a really cool move, taking advantage of this pinned pawn. Knight captures pawn check, and then the king has to go backwards. And then the game ending, queen to f8. So a really nice looking game there. Nice and quick. I think black really paid a price here. It's fun to bring your queen out right away, but if you don't capitalize on it real soon, it becomes a liability. And, you can see black just ends up trying to win this whole game with just his queen out there, and he ends up lagging behind in development. Whoops, I think I skipped a few moves. But also down here on part of the bottom of the screen, you see this line. I don't know if you can see my little cursor. This line, this white and black. That's also a quick way to see what the computer thinks, who the game's better for. You can see a little bit more black on that line than white. Let's go down here towards the end of the game. So see how it just all went white right there? It's all white, meaning this game is just solid good for white. the analysis is telling us now. See, you got mostly a white on that little line, a little bit of black over here. That's just kind of a quick way to look and say, who does the computer think is better? Obviously, if it was exactly half white and half black, it would be good for black. Equal, sorry. So, a little soon there. Just playing through the moves real quick. And if I want to, I can turn this off, this analysis engine stopped, and I can just play through it without, I can play through it without all that stuff and just kind of go through the moves. Or I can hit the little play button right here, and I don't have to touch it. It'll just play by itself. It's kind of cool sometimes. You can just watch the game happen. There's no analysis, and if you want to, you can add your own analysis in between each move. So nice looking game here. Ron played some solid defense and took advantage of Black's undeveloped position. Looks pretty good. I don't see any major blunders. I like it. Check and mate. So good game. Thank you.